had here. There was a couple of stories just out of Europe we can talk about real quick too. Yeah, we kind of addressed this in a way, I guess, but just the overall idea here too, that as all these other issues are happening at the same time, we're dealing with massive waves of refugees, the economy, they're a burden on the economy, and then they're going to try to like get these people to integrate into our societies and function in a high-tech society. This is just on every end, Dan, we're getting hammered, and it's just like it could be one or the other domino that falls, but it will take the rest of them with them when they do.
No, for sure. I mean, they're pounding us from every angle, and we have so few people standing up for us that have wielding any power whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we're kind of here at the mercy of the wolves, and we did touch on this earlier. Afghans are some of the most crime-prone people, and most of them are young men that come in, and they are predators. Many of them are predators, and we have so many terrible stories. You probably remember one of them, one of the most famous, Maria Lautenberger. She was a daughter of an EU official, an attorney for the EU, and she was also a volunteer at one of the refugee asylum centers in her town in Germany. And an Afghan guy, he caught her one night on her way home from a party, I think, and he raped her and threw her body into the river, and she was found dead. And it turned out that he had also done basically the same thing in Greece and claimed the whole time to be underage. They later determined that he was definitely not underage, and he had raped a girl there and thrown her off a cliff before making his way to Germany. And when all that was said and done, when her body was being lowered into the ground, her parents asked that in lieu of flowers, that people would make a donation to another refugee resettlement type organization, some charity group. So it speaks to the depravity of the people who are implementing this agenda. Even people in the EU, they cannot control themselves. Mm-hmm. They are totally sold out to this. Just like Molly Tibbetts' father in the United States saying, these people are just like us, but with better food. It's a sickness. It's totally insane, and they're inflicting huge amounts of pain, death, rape, sexual assault on the rest of us and our families here in the West.
Crazy. Yeah, Afghan child killer wanderer in Austria reached Britain via channel posing as refugee. Was this the one that killed the 13-year-old that was left at in the middle of the road? But right, was this the guy?
Yes, it was. Yeah. 13-year-old girl. She was, I think, from the countryside or town outside of Vienna, and she was in Vienna for some reason. And these Afghan men, they somehow got a hold of her. They plied her full of drugs. They raped her. They killed her, and then they left her body propped up against a tree out in the street. And she was only 13 years old. And it's just, I mean,
it's incredible.
These stories are every day, though.
I know.
Not all of them
exactly.
reach the news.
Yeah, and we cover, them sporadically here and there, too, because otherwise it will be the only thing we would cover and kind of thing, but that's how insane. And we need to, of course, cover them, intermittently to remind people of what's going on, right? But there's just so many of them, and it's people are kind of getting numb to it almost. It's, it's like, it's parse and parcel. That's just what it is now kind of thing, right? We have police chiefs in Sweden who's like, to solve the gang crime that we have is going to take decades, and it's just part of the problem. It's this, they've accepted it when people 10, 20 years ago were warning and saying this will lead to a free fall of society, of civil and kind and high trust society. It's going to be chaos, it's going to be crime, it's going to be out of control. Well, we're called racists and bigots and idiots for that, and now it's happening right in front of our eyes, and it's admitted by the mainstream press now too that that's just how it is now. But we can't do anything if we can't deport these people. Obviously, we need to help them more. In fact, it's our fault that they're doing this. That's basically the narrative,
Right, or let's bring another 100,000 in from here, and 100,000 from there, and 50,000 from there, and it's insane. And and to give a little snapshot, even here in Switzerland, there's a huge migrant issue, and some people don't realize that because they just assume that Switzerland has stronger border controls or it's harder to immigrate to Switzerland. But I spent some time in some of the bigger Swiss cities this weekend, moving around in Lucerne and Bern, and I'll tell you, in the city centers, it is dangerous. I was in the city center of Bern for all of 10 minutes because I had to come out of the train station and then grab a bus. And drunk male migrants all over the place, and little scared teenage girls running around trying to flee the region. And, you know, and that's what every European city is turning into, at least in Western Europe. It's horrifying.
I know. It's incredible, right? And yeah, it's just kind of happening. And I mean, again, I think there is a breaking point. Of course, we're seeing people trying to flee, they're trying to get out and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's like this concerted effort to, like, you know, get prisoners out of prisons and release them in society. If they're in a foreign country like this story here, just bring them over, bring convicted felons over back to the U.S., bring them into Sweden. ISIS fighters need to come back, and you know, we see these headlines over and over again. It's like they want the chaos. They want disintegration and collapse of society, because again, then they can come in as the saviors also at some point and saying, well, we need more surveillance, we need more control, we need more robots policing people, we need more checkpoints, we need, you know, there's all these beneficial things, and it's the national security apparatus is gaining more finances and money from that too. It's like it's the justification for the existence of the state. And especially a state which is, overbearing and as big brotherish as it possibly can be as well.
Yeah, problem, reaction, solution. It's the same playbook over and over.
There you go. All right. Dan, it was great having you here. Anything else you want to get out here before we round up for today? It was great having you here.
It was awesome to be here. No, just great to share this time with you, and really admire everything that you guys do. And